The scream of a wounded cow split the dawn, jerking John Parker awake in his creaky bed. He bolted upright, sweat beading on his brow, the sound clawing at memories of war, cries in the jungle, blood on the leaves. But this wasn't Vietnam. This was his ranch, his 200 acres of Texas dirt, and something was wrong. He threw off the thin blanket, boots hitting the floorboards with a thud. You don't wait for daylight to face trouble. You ride into it. He stepped onto the porch, the air cool and heavy with the scent of dew-soaked grass. The lake shimmered in the distance, a silver scar against the rolling pastures, but his eyes locked on the east fence line. Shadows moved there, too deliberate to be wind. He slung the rifle over his shoulder, pulled on his Stetson hat, and strode to the barn. His limp from an old war wound barely slowing him. His horse, a chestnut mare named Dusty, nickered as he saddled her up, her breath steaming in the chill. "Easy, girl," he muttered, patting her flank. "We've got work to do." The ride to the east pasture took 10 minutes, the horizon brightening to a dull gold as he crested a low hill. That's when he saw it. A gaping hole in the barbed wire, strands curled back like broken fingers, and beyond it, hoof prints trailing into the brush. John dismounted, boots sinking into the soft earth, and counted the herd. 50 head yesterday, 45 now, 5 cows gone, and one, a young heifer, lay tangled in the wire, her flank gashed, bawling in pain. Blood stained the grass, dark and wet. John knelt beside her, his calloused hands gentle as he assessed the wound. "Hang on, little one," he said, voice rough but steady. He pulled a knife from his belt and cut her free, her cries softening as he tied a rag around the gash to stem the bleeding. But this wasn't an accident. The wire hadn't snapped. It had been cut, clean and deliberate, the ends glinting where metal shears had bitten through. John's jaw clenched, his gaze following the hoofprints toward the highway a mile off. Rustlers, or worse. He stood, brushing dirt from his knees, and spotted something in the trampled grass. A cigarette, but half-smoked, the paper stained yellow. He picked it up, rolling it between his fingers. Caleb Wheeler smoked this brand. Cheap, acrid, the kind that lingered on his sneer. John's blood ran hot. That punk from last night wasn't just taunting anymore. He was stealing. The heifer's pained grunt pulled him back. He couldn't chase the trail yet, not with her bleeding out. He hoisted her onto Dusty's back, her weight straining the mare, and rode to the barn. There, he stitched the wound with a needle and thread from his kit, hand steady despite the ache in his shoulder from an old shrapnel scar. The heifer quieted, her breathing shallow but even. "You'll make it," he told her, though he wasn't sure who he was convincing. He washed the blood from his hands in a rusty bucket, the water turning pink, and grabbed a coil of wire from the shelf. Time to fix the fence and then find Caleb. By noon, the sun blazed overhead, baking the earth dry. John hammered a new post into the ground, sweat dripping from his brow as he strung fresh barbed wire across the gap. Each clang of the hammer echoed his simmering rage. He'd built this ranch from nothing after the divorce, poured every dime and drop of himself into it. Linda had taken a house in town, the kids had scattered, Jake to Dallas, Sarah to Austin, Matt to Houston, but this land was his. And now someone thought they could carve it up like a slab of meat. A dust cloud rose on the horizon, and John paused, shielding his eyes. A beat-up Ford rattled down the dirt road, its engine coughing like a sick dog. Old man Wheeler stepped out, a grizzled figure in his 60s, all sinew and spite, his felt hat stained with years of sweat. Caleb's uncle, and John's neighbor to the east. He limped over, leaning on a cane carved from mesquite, his gray eyes cold as slate. "Parker," Wheeler rasped, nodding at the fence. "Heard you had some trouble." John set the hammer down, slow and deliberate, his stance wide. "You heard, or you know?" Wheeler's lip curled, a half-smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Don't get testy. Just neighborly concern. Lost cows, huh? Happens out here. Cut wire don't just happen." John shot back, pulling the cigarette but from his pocket and holding it up. "Found this. Your nephew's brand." Wheeler's face hardened, but he shrugged. "Caleb's a fool. not a thief. You're barking up the wrong tree, Parker. He stepped closer, cane tapping the ground. Tell you what, though, I got a buyer sniffing around. Big money for lakefront land. Yours and mine. We could split it, walk away rich. Or you can keep playing cowboy till you're broke. John's grip tightened on the wire, the barbs biting into his palm. This ain't for sale. Not to you. Not to anyone. Wheeler chuckled, low and mean. Suit yourself. But land don't stay yours if you can't hold it. He turned back to his truck, leaving the words hanging like smoke. John finished the fence, his mind churning. Wheeler's offer wasn't a lifeline. It was a threat. And Caleb wasn't acting alone. He saddled Dusty again, riding the trail of hoof prints toward the highway. They led to a ditch where tire tracks cut deep, then vanished on asphalt. No cows, no proof, just a gnawing certainty. He'd need more than a hunch to confront them. Back at the house, dusk settled heavy, the lake reflecting a sky streaked orange. John sat on the porch, cleaning his rifle, when hoofbeats broke the quiet. Mary Ellen Carter rode up, her gray mare kicking dust, a burlap sack slung over her saddle. She dismounted, her braids swinging, and climbed the steps with a frown. "Saw you out by the fence," she said, setting the sack down. "Trouble." "Rustlers," John grunted, not looking up. 5 head gone. Caleb's mixed up in it. She sighed, sitting beside him. "That boy's no good. Wheeler's worse. You watch yourself, John." She nudged the sack toward him. Apples from her orchard, still warm from the sun. "Figured you could use something sweet after a day like that." He met her eyes, the faintest thaw in his gruff shell. "Thanks, Mary Ellen." Their hands brushed as he took an apple. A quiet moment amid the storm. Then headlights flared. Another truck, this one sleek and black. Jake Parker climbed out, his city boots crunching gravel, his face a mask of fury. Sarah followed, her teacher's poise cracking under worry. John stood, rifle in hand, as his kids stormed the porch. "Dad, what's this about rustlers?" Jake demanded. "Sarah saw the herd today. It's half what it was last year." Sarah cut in, voice sharp. "And now you're losing more? You can't run this place alone." John's chest tightened. "I've got it handled." "Handled?" Jake barked, stepping close. "You're bleeding money, and we hear Wheeler's circling. This ranch is ours too. Sell it before it's gone." Mary Ellen stood, bristling. "He's fighting for it, not giving up. You ought to respect that." Jake wheeled on her. "Stay out of this, lady. You don't belong here." "Enough," John roared, slamming the rifle but on the porch. The crack silenced them. "This is my land. You want it? Take it over my dead body." Jake's fists clenched, but Sarah grabbed his arm. "Come on," she muttered. They retreated to the truck, tires spinning as they left. Mary Ellen touched John's shoulder, a fleeting comfort, then rode off. John sank in his chair, the apple rolling from his hand. The herd was safe for now. The fence mended, but Wheeler's threat loomed, and his kids' betrayal stung deep. Out by the lake, a truck's engine rumbled faintly, then faded. Trouble wasn't done with him yet.